Okay, so we're going to start with a cushion, and you're going to be on your stomach. We're going to grab that cushion between the feet. So we're actually just going to do a hamstring activator. It's not the toughest of exercises with a cushion, if you don't have a weight in hand, but it's quite a nice one for creating focus in the hamstring. So just with the head down, you can pop your forehead onto your hands if you like. But the idea is to squeeze your butt, push the pubic bone forward into the floor, and then you can flex the feet and just bring the heels up towards the butt. The more you push the pubic bone down into the floor, the more you're going to feel the hamstrings working. So initially, just as a warm-up, you don't want to do anything too hectic. And if you did have a weight, you could certainly, if you had ankle weights are too light, but if you made up some sort of plan, you could certainly add a challenge to this. Even better would probably be a band. You could tie a band around something solid, maybe the base of the couch or a heavy chair or something, and then work off this. So you could put the band around the ankles. But to be fair, I'm already feeling this just as it is, because I'm really pushing the pubic bone forward. I'm squeezing my butt hard. So it's putting the focus immediately into the hamstrings. So just a set of these, nothing too hectic. We're going to do, I'll probably do another one or two. Okay, and then come up. Sorry. So you can drop that cushion. We're actually just going to do a prep for the bird dog, because the bird dog is the exercise we're going to do, but we'll do it on the chair. But let's do it on the floor for a first set. So find neutral position. You want your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. And then all you're going to do, it's much easier on the floor, as you know. We're going to take one leg up. So you're not leaning away from that leg. We're virtually doing a horse stance, but an extended version. But we're not pushing, we're not focusing on a push. We are just focusing on a balance. Okay. Now, it's easier on the floor simply because the whole part of the lower shin and the foot is on the floor. When you're on the chair, none of that is supported, so it's much harder. Okay, and then come down, switch sides. You should be able to feel the back line switch on almost instantly. For me, it goes into the back extensors because I'm strongest there. My body tends to avoid the hamstrings, which is why I've got to push hard on when I do hamstring work. My glutes take over, my back extensors take over. So just hold up, make sure that you're not leaning away from the raised leg, okay? So you're not making it easy for yourself. The hips are square, the shoulders are square, and then come down. Okay, so let's go back to the cushion, squeeze for the hamstrings, come down onto the floor, bring the forehead down, squeeze your butt, push your pubic bone forward, try and almost, and then go for it. Try and almost feel like you are straightening the lower back. So you've almost got to imagine that you are lengthening through the coccyx and into the lumbar, further up the lumbar spine, and pulling that as long as possible so that you create a longer lower back rather than a shorter one. So less arched rather than more arched, if that makes sense. And in doing that, you're basically pushing that pubic bone more towards the front, which is going to get you more targeting the hamstrings. Flexing the feet will target them more in the sense that you won't be using the calves. Squeezing the butt is going to make them work. I'm really feeling them. So for those of us who are not particularly naturally switched on in the hamstrings, this should work very, very well. For those who are very strong in the hamstrings, it might be a harder one to feel them on. And in which case, if you're not feeling them particularly in the hamstrings, you may even want to take the legs off the floor, the knees off the floor, and then go. That's a bit too much for me in the hamstrings. Oh, okay, we'll have a look afterwards. Bonnie's falling apart. He's getting very old. So I think his leg just fell off. Bonnie, do the bridge. Lie on your back with the feet on the floor. Okay, I'm going to do, I think, 2 more of these. So I challenge you to take the knees off the floor. Try them. Just do 1 rep like that. Whoa. It'll get you in the glutes as well. Oh, okay, it's my last one. Ugh. All right, let's have you up. Bring your chair. And then let's have you do your bird dog. So, whichever side you decide to do, make sure you're hip distance apart. So, kind of want a small surface area because you want the base of this leg off the chair. I'm hip distance apart. I'm going to put my 2 limbs on first. I'm going to take my foot up before I do anything else. Let me just get further on. Just getting my knee. All right, so my foot is up first, and it's up at hip height. All right, and then I'm going to take my hand off as and when I can. Now, this is just about challenging the balance. So the foot stays exactly where it is. The leg stays exactly where it is, should I say, that back leg. That's the thing that stays the same. It's the arm that gets added for challenge. So if you find that you're not able to sustain the leg up, bring the arm down first. Oh, and then come down when you've had enough. Whew. It can be very tiring. Okay, other side. Let me move this onto my mat so you can see me. All right, so switch legs. That will help. Make sure it's hip distance apart. Take the leg up first, and then you can play around. Now, try and keep the shoulders level. Try and keep the hips square. So imagine both are facing front, and then you can play around with the arm. If you find, and you'll find one side is easier to balance actually. Always, almost always. Hold. Make sure that foot is up. And then come down. Oh, when you're tired. Okay, let's pop this here. Let's grab that cushion again. Between the feet. So it's not between the knees, it's between the feet that you're looking for. Okay, that's where the work is going to happen. Oh, you know what? This is a very, very soft cushion. I think I need to make a plan and maybe get a, bless you, a Pilates ball is the alternative. So if you had one of those lovely red Pilates balls, that would be a good thing to use here. All right, so remember I'm squeezing my butt, I'm pushing my pubic bone forward. I've got my feet flexed. Well, I'm trying actually because I think I'm going to lose this cushion. So I'm not going to flex them too much. Yeah, it's a very, very soft cushion. So probably a better bet would be a, if not a Pilates ball, it would be probably a pillow actually folded. That might be easier to manage. Now you can take those knees off if you feel like it. That's just going to make those hamstrings work that much harder. The reason for that is because you're then getting completely extended in the hip, even more so than just lying flat. And that just brings those hamstrings in even more, but it also will bring the glutes in, so it's a nice double whammy. Oh, you should be able to feel those hamstrings switching on beautifully. Keep the butt forward, or keep it squeezed, should I say, keep the pubic bone forward. You could also think about lifting the belly button to the spine, because that in itself will also keep the pubic bone moving forward, and that's the key here. Oh. I'm going to do 2 more after this. Oh. One more. Oh. Okay. Let's have you up. So, bird dog on your first side. Let's have the, what did I have? Okay, I had my left knee, right hand. You can go whichever leg you want. Make sure the foot comes up first, so you're nice and straight. When you're ready, with the shoulders level and the hips square, you can take the arm off. Try not to let the leg drop. It'll naturally do that as you adjust to the balance, but try and get it back where it was. If you really struggle with balance on this one, so I mean it's a tough one to do, you can create a situation, you might need a larger surface area where you have more of the leg on the chair. Oh, okay, come down. So what you couldn't do, to be fair, is put more on and then have the arm back, because that's going to cause problems for you ultimately in terms of balance. But you could put a second chair here in front and pop your hand on that so that you've got more of the leg, and you can play around with how much. That's obviously the ultimate, because there's nothing supporting. That's about a halfway point, and you could do all the way. So it's entirely up to you. Let's do the other side. I always want to do the same leg. All right. So opposite side, you're going to bring that leg up. Make sure it stays up. Shoulders are level. Hips are square. If I wanted to cheat, I could just jam my foot against the wall and look like I'm super, super well balanced. I'm going to avoid cheating. Oh. Keep it switched on. Make sure the belly button's pulled to the spine throughout. It's not aggressive, but it needs to happen, so you're just supporting that lower back. Oh, and then come down when you're tired. Okay, let's go back to our third set. I think third and last set of the hamstrings. Okay, grab that cushion. This is driving me mad. Go, as soon as you're ready, start. I'm just going to try and find a better position for this cushion. Okay, head down and then squeeze. So you can imagine with a tethered band, this would work quite well, because in fact it works the opposite way. A band tends to work the opposite way to a weight. Because think about it, the weight is heaviest to lift off the floor at this point, at the start point. It gets easier as you pass that mid point, that mid kind of position. Whereas a band starts off easy and gets harder as you hit your inner part of the contraction. In other words, what we call the inner range. So the two have very different effects actually on muscles in terms of the range of the muscle. So again, one hits the outer range, one hits the inner range. So it's quite a nice idea to do a little bit of a combination. Oh. And again, keep the butt pushed forward or squeezed, pubic bone pushed forward, belly button pulled slightly to the spine. And if you're like me and you've got a big pillow and it's not working very well, you've got the added stress of not letting the pillow slip between your legs, which actually also adds, because you've now got inner thigh squeezing too. Oh, you can lift the knees off if you really want to. I'm going to do one more after this. Gosh, that really is nailing it. Oh, okay, back to the bird dog. So, leave that cushion where it is. Let's go first side. I'm going to do open line actually. All right, so one knee on, make sure your hip distance apart. Take the one leg up, make sure you hit hip height. Let's check that, yes, and then go for the arm. Try and drop your chin too, so you're not looking up. You want to keep a long line through the back of the spine, into the neck, through the back of the head. So relax the neck. Nothing should be tense in the neck at all. All the tension should be in the shoulders and the tricep, in the abdominals. or in the back extensors, the glutes, the hamstrings, probably the calves too, and come down when you need to. Oh, other side. Hip distance apart, bring that leg up. If you've got a mirror, you can check your position. And also make sure when you're on the chair, it's quite easy to lean against the back of the chair, depending on how wide your hips are or how wide you are. So you need to just watch that. Try not to touch the back of the chair because that will offer instant stability. And of course that means you're not going to work as hard. And the one thing we want to do is work hard. Oh, keep the foot up. And come down when you need to. Whew. So for me, as I said to you, I'm feeling that mostly in my hip extensors. So I'm feeling it here, all up the insides of the back. And those are your mobilizing back muscles, so quite important muscles. All right, we're going to stay standing, and we're going to do the one leg deadlift. And we did this in the flow on Friday, but we only did one set. So we're going to bring in more sets this time. So remember, your underneath foot is slightly, the underneath knee or leg is slightly soft. So not hammered straight, because then you just rely on the joint locking, but slightly soft, and then squeeze the butt. So open up that kneecap so it falls over that second toe. Hips are square, shoulders are square. I'm looking front, and then I'm just taking my leg up. Of course, I've started on my strong side, haven't I? So you should be able to, if you're facing me, you should be able to see me because your chest should be up. Unless you've got incredibly long hamstrings, and even if you have, hopefully, if you've got long hamstrings, you're likely to have strong back extensors, which means you should be able to keep that chest up. Either way, we're just hinging at the hip and you're staying in neutral spine. So if that's the case, I can't claim that looking down would be neutral spine because now I've dropped in my upper back. Okay, so I'm staying in neutral spine. All I'm doing is seesawing. I'm just seesawing. And that's why it's the leg going up that takes the chest down, because you're just on a seesaw. Nothing else changes in that position. Whoops. Oh. Keep the hips square. Remember, the more square these are, the more you're going to ask the hamstring to work, and the more the glute will switch on. So you want to be maximally efficient. Oh, my balance is all over the place. Okay. And I don't know how many I've done. Bonnie, I wish I could rely on you for counting numbers. He'd just make it up. I just wouldn't trust him. I'm going to do one more. Oh. Okay, shake it out. Claire wanted to know if the Bulgarians were coming to town. I assume that was a Bulgarian flag, Claire. Or maybe it was Romanian, or maybe it was, what did you say? Hungarian. I don't know any Hungarian exercises. I only know Russian, Bulgarian, Romanian, and Turkish. So I said to her, no, it was just the Saffas today. Oh, this is one of my favorite exercises to give clients, I will be honest. And in fact, what you could do, so keep going with this one. You've got a weight for using in class anyway. You could, excuse me, you remember because we've used a bucket before, so you could also get into using the weight and just bringing that in. It's not, look, this is, to my mind, it's not particularly heavy because it's for something else, obviously. And I need to be able to manage it. But it is an option. It is an option. We'll do the bucket and the books another time. I thought we had enough requests for equipment this time round. Just now it's going to be the whole house. Just bring the kitchen into the lounge and we're ready for class. So you must be nearing the end of this one. I'm going to do 2 more. And 1 more. When you're done with this, you're going to grab your weight. Oh, okay. We're going to do a single arm reverse flyer. So you can use your chair if you feel that you need to. So let me just show you what your options are. You can just give yourself a little bit of a balance by putting the front hand on the chair. The movement itself is just bringing the arm straight up to the side. So if you look along my shoulder, I'm coming straight up. I'm not working behind and I'm not working above. I'm in line with my shoulders. Now, my preference is that you don't rely on the chair, but that you bring yourself into either a semi-squat position, or you can take one leg back if that's more comfortable, or you can straighten that back leg, whatever feels more comfortable to you. But the important thing is that you are as deep as possible in the movement, because if you're up here, I'm going to use more shoulder. If I'm down here, I'm going to use more back. And I'm looking for back. We're working back today. We did shoulders on Monday. So in that position, I am virtually in a tabletop. So I know that any work I do to the side is going to be taken by the back. Okay. Yes, back of the shoulder to some degree, but it's really rhomboids that I'm kind of getting into here. And that's the muscle between the shoulder blades. And I'm not going to be able to do too many. It's a relatively small muscle. I've got a relatively heavy weight, so I'm probably only going to get about, I think this must be about 5. And I'm probably only going to get about 8 out. So you decide. You don't have to have your hand on don't put it on your kneecap, put it on the base of your thigh. Or as I say, you can use the chair if you need to. But it's much better not to use the chair because it forces you to stabilize against the weight. Oh, and remember, we see the benefit of doing one arm and not both together is that you have to stabilize against the movement. So it's a beautiful one for bringing in the opposite or the opposing stabilizing muscles. Okay, always like to work one side at a time. All right, so let's do the other side while we're here. So whatever position it is that you're going to choose to be in, make sure you're comfortable, drop the chest. And the other thing is you must be in neutral spine. So you can't if you do the exercise like this, you're gonna hurt yourself. So it has to be butt stuck out. If you could only do that with a hand on the chair, then by all means do it with a hand on the chair. But you've got to have the butt stuck out. Bonnie, stick your butt out. Yes. I'm watching him and that reminded me to let you know of that cue. Okay, so straight up the side. Stay arched in the lower back, Bonnie. Go back to arch. Arch the back. More. Stick your bum out. Yes. No. Pull the belly button to the spine. So you want to make sure you don't let go in the lower back and keep the belly button pulled. Just stabilizes the pelvis for you. Make sure you're down so you've got almost your tabletop position. The lower you go, the more you're going to work the back. I've got one more, I think. Oh, I'm just going to do one more for luck because I didn't really count. Okay. Let's go back to the one leg deadlift. This time I'm going to start on my bad side. All right, so, oh, you're right, 6 minutes, I think. Got kind of 6, all right. So bring the shoulders to face front, the hips are facing front. Take it back. Remember, the more you keep those hips square, the more hamstring you're going to work, the more glute you're going to ask to switch on. Make sure the bottom knee is soft. You've opened up the kneecap to fall over the second toe. Keep the belly button pulled gently to the spine. I had a client telling me yesterday, gosh, there's just so much to think about. So many cues. I said, I know. I have some clients get quite impatient with me because I can't think of so many things. Actually, that's Bonnie too. So, stop talking, he says. So my point is always just listen to me. You don't have to remember what I'm saying. Just listen. As I say it, make the correction. Because there's only like 17 things per exercise to think about. Oh, I'm going to do another 2 or 3. So on this one, soft knee, squeeze the butt, open the knee over the second toe. Pull the belly button gently to the spine. Keep the hips square, keep the toes turned down. Keep the chest up and keep the shoulders facing front. See, easy. Oh, okay. Oh, let's do the other side. So it should nail you on that working leg, which is the bottom leg. It should be right into the back of the gluteal fold and into the side here as well. Right, other leg. So what have we got? We've got the soft knee, squeezing the butt, opening up the kneecap over the second toe. Make sure the big toe stays down, huh? Because that engages that posterior line. Now, my hips are square, they're facing front, so are my shoulders. My toes are tucked under. My belly button is pulled to my spine gently, but my back stays up as I take it forward because I'm on a seesaw. Okay, I'm going to do 3 more after this. Keep that big toe down. Oh, 1 more. Last one. Okay, grab that weight again. Come back to your position, whichever you've chosen it to be. Drop the chest, bring yourself up to the side, nice and slow with control. Don't lean away from it. And if you can, just put the hand on the hip. Keep the belly button pulled to the spine so you don't overarch the back. Guess what I've got in my bag? It's a bottle of wine. I joined a wine club. It's called Naked Wine Club, and they sent me 12 bottles of red. Fabulous. So that's what I'm using. I promise I won't drink it straight after class. Other side. Find your position. So those back extensors will probably be quite tired today because we've got them in the bird dog too. Okay. Down we go. Hand on hip if you can manage it. Make sure that you're nice and low in your tabletop. Belly button pull to the spine. Keep the big toes down so you're constantly on the floor in the right position, engaging the right line. 1 more for me. Okay. Right, let's go back to the 1 leg deadlift. Last set. Do your dodgy side first. Belly button pull to the spine. Keep the knee soft. Squeeze the butt open. Squeeze the butt open. Now that I'd like to see.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Squeeze the butt, open the knee. The images that come to mind. All right, so keep the hips square. Make sure the toes turned under. It's not the first time I've done that. I remember saying to a client once, something like, open up the butt. Oh dear. No, she knew what I meant. She was kind enough not to make fun of me. All right, keep the hips square. Toes are tucked under. Belly button pulled to the spine. Keep the big toes down. I've got another 3 on this side. 2 more. Oh, 1 more here. And then we'll finish off with the other side. I think we're done time-wise then. Oh, come down. Okay, shake it out. Yeah. Sorry, we'll be a minute or 2 late. So let's just finish this side and then we're done. Soft knee, squeeze the butt, open the knee over the second toe, pull the belly button to the spine, square hips, square shoulders. Bunny, behave. Okay. Yeah, you're going to fall over. Okay, keep the belly button pulled, keep the chest up. Remember, you're just hinging, so you're still staying in neutral. Don't let go in the lower back. And don't let go in the upper back, because that's a common thing, is to just drop the shoulders down or to look down. The minute you look down, you're likely to drop your chest. Make sure you're doing equal both sides. I'm not sure how many I've got left, but I'm going to do 3. This is my easier side, so it just doesn't tax me as much. 2 more. Oh, and then 1 more. Oh, and down. Okay, so let's just pop those feet hip distance apart and just hang. Just stretch out those lower backs. Try and drop the chin. Relax completely. If you want to tuck the hands into the elbows, you can do that. It just gives you a little bit more weight on that upper body. Try and unstack that spine. And then just roll yourself up nice and slow. And that is your Wednesday workout. Thank you for joining me.